In the dead of night, when the truth calls, one voice rises. Into the fight, a voice like thunder cutting through the night. No chains can hold him, no fear in his eyes. Jey Morales rising under blood-red skies. From twisted thoughts and secrets untold, he walks the edge where the brave and the bold speak of the stars, the lies and the dreams, chasing the lightning in a world torn at the seams. Do you feel it rising? The fire in your veins. The truth is coming through the pouring rain. Jey Morales unbound, breaking the chains that tie you down. Jey Morales unbound, from the smoke and fire, hear the battle sound. Lily-clad warriors gather round the flame. Questions like weapons, no two are the same. He rolls with the thunder, he laughs with the storm. Revelations of lightning keeps his soul reborn. Between the madness and the peace he seeks, he finds a wisdom that the violence speaks. No script, no limits, just the raw and the real. Every word I have a honey truth forged in steel. Sky is burning, the night's alive. Can you feel the power? It's time to win. Jey Morales unbound, raising a fire from the underground. Jey Morales unbound, let the whole world hear mighty sound. From the clouds to the stars, through the smoke and the skies, we ride the unknown. We become who we are. No fear, no chains, no looking back. The voice of the night is on the attack. Jey Morales unbound. Let the heavens shake when you hear that sound. Jey Morales Jey Morales unbound. From the deepest clouds to the battleground. Jey Morales unbound. night.
Ha! I got it this time! Welcome back to Unbound, Season 2, Episode 24, the show where we cut through the noise, connect the dots, and break down the biggest stories shaping our world right now. I'm Jey Morales, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Revelation. How we doing, Rev?
Oh, good. Gotta listen to all these juicy articles and, give our good good opinions on them.
Hell yeah, success. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Everybody, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, Revelation. And tonight, we got another stacked episode full of major developments on multiple fronts, from escalating tensions overseas to big political moves in Washington, court decisions, public health scares, and plenty of drama inside the ring. We start with the Iran Daily Chronicle today for May 9th through the 11th of 2026, as the fragile ceasefire between the U.S., Israel, and Iran continues to hang on by a thread with stalled negotiations. Fresh incident in the Strait of Hormuz and new updates on Project Freedom. We'll also break down President Trump's surprise signal that he supports suspending the federal gas tax as prices continues to rise. His dramatic renomination of the Cameron Hamilton to lead FEMA, and the Supreme Court latest move temporarily protecting nationwide access to the abortion pill mifepristone. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Revelation. You got to help me out on that. On the public health side, we examine the growing international concerns over the Hanta virus outbreak linked to an Antarctic cruise ship that has already claimed multiple lives. We also cover the major 2026 overhaul hitting SNAP benefits, the heated battle over Alabama congressional district maps ahead of the midterms, and the tragic Frontier airline accident at Denver airport where a runway trespasser was struck and killed. Ladies and gentlemen, more like he got sucked into a turbine and killed. And finally, we give you our honest review of WWE Backlash 2026 over the weekend. The good, the bad, and the whether we just saw Asuka's final match. From global conflict and economic relief proposals to court rulings, redistricting, drama, public health threats, and wrestling fallout. This week truly had everything happening at once, and now we're gonna get right into it. Also, I would like you to know that what you just saw a minute ago, Revelation, we're on audio form now. What you got to tell the public?
Now, Unbound, or better known yet as 67.6 FM Unbound, featuring Jey Morales and Revelation, is across tons of audio platforms.
Hell yeah.
For your listening, earbud stimulating pleasure on the, regulated times that we are normally on.
Correct. One of the ones that it's missing here, that if you are a Pandora member, you qualify to listen to our show now through the Pandora Sirius XM. So if you are a Sirius XM member and you're using Pandora, you can now go into Pandora, search Jey Morales Unbound with co-host Revelation, and I promise you it should show up that way. If it's not, just make sure to look up Jey Morales Unbound. Co-host Revelation should be in the description. And if you are looking for advertisement for your business, you can always hit us up through the comment section for now until we can have a specific email that we're going to create for this show where Revelation and I will have access to and be able to respond with any ideas or business ads, or what do you think? Well, oh, sorry, yeah, maybe not just business ads, but if you want to be a part of the show and have an interview, we're always down for that as well. So hit us up, Jey Morales Unbound or Revelation in the comments section, and let us know that you guys want to be involved. And yeah, we're in it to win it. Am I right, Revelation?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, well, we're going to dive right in this massive stacked episode, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to push through in the next hour. We're going to start with the Iran Daily Chronicle, Iran War Daily Chronicle between May the 9th, so Saturday to today, May 11th. Yes, Rev.
Hold on. We have something very fucking interesting. Okay, so a Democratic mayor has just admitted to being a Chinese foreign agent in the Southern California city of Arcadia. She was elected in the year of 2022. Her name was Eileen Wang. She has just now agreed to plead guilty of acting as an illegal agent of the Chinese government. I don't know why because I clicked on because I had a freeze warning. I wanted to get rid of my
Well, you want to talk about it some more? I'll push you through. Go ahead.
Well, that was the only thing. I just saw I wanted to get rid of the freeze warning on my screen, and up popped everything, like all the notifications, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna pull this out real fast, and this is breaking fucking news. Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Actually.
That is terrifying.
That's some Fallout ass shit right there.
That's a fact. All right. If you want, as I go through this, and you want to see if there's anything more about it, we can touch on it more later on. All right. The fragile ceasefire that has held, albeit tenuously, I don't know why it says that, albeit tenuously, since early April between the United States, Israel, and Iran faced significant new strains over the weekend of May 9th to the 11th. As diplomatic exchanges broke down publicly, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz continued to disrupt global energy markets. The conflict, which erupted on February 28th with coordinated U.S.-Israeli airstrikes under Operation Epic Fury, targeting Iranian military sites, nuclear facilities, and leadership, resulting in the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, has already exacted a heavy toll. Thousands have been killed, including civilians, in strikes such as the one on a school in Menab. Millions displaced across Iran and neighboring regions, and critical infrastructure severely damaged. Reconstruction challenges loom large even as fighting has largely paused. Diplomatic efforts, often channeled through Pakistani intermediaries, hit a visible impasse on May 10th. Iran delivered its response to a U.S. proposal which reportedly emphasized demands for a permanent end to hostilities. Recognition of its sovereignty, claims over the Strait of Hormuz, the lifting of the American naval blockade on Iranian ports, and discussions on war reparations to address the extensive damage from the initial campaign. Iranian officials presented these positions as essential for regional stability and the protection of national rights. President Donald Trump, however, rejected the document outright, describing it in a strong term as totally unacceptable, garbage, and something he didn't even finish reading. In remarks to reporters, he stated that ceasefire was now on massive life support or with only a slim chance of survival, while leaving open the possibility of involving Chinese President Xi Jinping in future talks. This diplomatic friction unfolded alongside reports of continued low-level incidents, Iranian-linked actions targeted commercial shipping and sites in Gulf states. While Hezbollah operations alongside Israel northern border persisted with drone activity, drawing Israeli retaliatory strikes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu maintained a firm public stance, underscoring that the conflict with Iran was far from resolved due to lingering concerns over undeclared nuclear material and enriched uranium. On the Iranian side, the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, who assumed the role in March following his father's death, has kept a relatively low public profile amid reports of injuries sustained early in the war. He has engaged with military commanders, reinforcing a message of deterrence as senior officials, including Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagar Ghalibaf, affirmed readiness to defend Iranian interests. The economic consequences of the prolonged disruptions remain profound. Iran's effective control and interference in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point carrying roughly one-fifth of global oil and LNG flows, have driven oil prices higher, with Brent crude rising amid the latest deadlock. This has translated into elevated fuel costs, worldwide shipping delays, supply chain strains, and broader inflationary pressures affecting consumers and industries far beyond the Middle East. The U.S. maintains its own blockade. Sorry about that. Can't speak today very well. Blockade of Iranian ports, creating a mutual maritime standoff that has trapped numerous vessels and complicated international trade. Updates on Project Freedom as of May 11th. Launched in early May as U.S.-led efforts to escort neutral merchant vessels off the contested Strait of Hormuz, Project Freedom represented a direct attempt to alleviate the humanitarian and economic shipping crisis involving U.S. Navy, destroyer, air support, and significant personnel. The operation saw limited initial successes, such as guiding a couple of U.S. flagships through the waterway and amid Iranian warnings of escalation. However, it quickly encountered resistance, including exchanges of fire, attack on vessels, and logistical complications. President Trump paused the initiative after roughly 48 hours, citing advancing diplomatic talks at the time and in a desire to avoid undermining potential agreements. Again, as of May 11th, today, with negotiations stalling following the rejection of Iran's latest counterproposal, Trump has publicly indicated that he is considering a revival or expansion of Project Freedom. Officials have framed any potential restart not just as escorts, but as of a broader posture to secure freedom of navigation if diplomacy fails. Regional partners, including Gulf states like Saudi Arabia, have shown caution regarding full support due to fear of wider escalation. Analysts warn that resuming such operation could unveil the ceasefire entirely, given Iran's threat and the high stakes in the Gulf. Throughout this period, the broader human and strategic impacts of the war since the late February continue to resonate beyond direct casualties. Estimate in the thousands of on the Iranian side alone. With significant civilian tolls, millions remain displaced. Proxy conflict involving Hezbollah and the Houthis keep multiple fronts active, and reconstruction in affected Iranian cities and infrastructure could require years of effort. Russia has been reported providing some support for Iranian military recovery during lulls. The conflict has also reshaped regional dynamics, testing alliances and highlighting the vulnerabilities of global energy routes. As of May 11 concludes, the situation remains fluid and high risk as a hardened position on issues such as nuclear assurances, sovereignty over the strait, reparations, and security guarantees suggest that any path to a lasting resolution will be challenging. Economic pressures from sustained high energy prices may yet incentivize compromise. But the potential for renewed hostilities if brinkmanship intensifies cannot be discontinued. International observers continue to monitor developments closely, particularly ahead of any high level engagements that could involve major powers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my ending discussing questions about this as we touch this again the following week, on Friday this week. Number one, with President Trump rejecting Iran's latest counterproposal and describing the ceasefire as being on life support while considering reviving Project Freedom, what short-term outcomes seem most probable? Successful de-escalation via renewed leverage, or an extended stalemate, or a return to open conflict in which factors might determine the direction. Number two, in what specific ways have this disruption to the Strait of Hormuz and resulting surges in global oil prices influenced the negotiation tactics and priorities of the U.S., Iran, Israel, and Gulf nations? And what longer-term consequences could this have for worldwide energy security and economic stability? And number three, given the sustained involvement of proxy groups like Hezbollah, the human costs, including widespread displacement and civilian casualties, and the positions of key regional players, what essential elements such as verifiable nuclear measures, sovereignty compromises, reconstruction aid, and or security pacts would likely be required for any durable peace in the region? Let us know in the comment section, as always, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have my chat up today. That's a new thing, by the way, that revelation that I want you to help me on here very soon, is that if you can somehow have the chat up on your screen so we don't miss any answers, that'll be awesome. We don't have to do it today because I know you have it all set up already and we don't want to mess up anything. But for the next show Friday, you should try to pull that up if you can. Again, ladies and gentlemen, when we do our questions here on the Jey Morales Unbound show, you have the chance to come into the chat, into our live chat here, and leave your answers here or your opinion. All right, we're here. We don't try to divide. We try to just hear everybody's opinion on what's going on. So don't be afraid. Go ahead and leave your comments and concerns or whatever in the chat or in the comments. All right. And thank you again for tuning in on the Unbound tonight. Revelation, what do you have about the situation that's happening with the Iran Daily Chronicle that we give here?
Let's all be honest, there is no reconstruction that's going on.
No, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, no, but that's a complete bullshit lie.
There's no way, because the U.S. isn't involved right now helping either. They're just blasting. I started blasting.
Well, it's not even that. Like, you know, the people have all fucking turned against them. So it's like, okay, like, and even if they did, you know, like, first of all, okay, so let's say the U.S. decided to actually help them and bring food in. Do you really think Iran, who has a history of hating every nation, not worshipping Islam, or even liking them, would allow them to come into Iran to drop food off to the people in their country? And let's say they did, right? Who do you think it's going to go to? The standard military and the people? Or is it going to go to the immediate royal family and the IRGC? My money is, and I'm going to guarantee you on this, the latter.
Yeah.
Because that's the important people. The ones in their mind guaranteeing the safety of the Iranian regime. The people don't matter. The people's military doesn't matter. The Ayatollah's military and the Ayatollah's family matters.
And that's the facts.
Like, that's the reason why they're holding out, is because there is still there is a minuscule amount of the IRGC left. Like, like, I'm not kidding you. As long as one of the IRGC members is still breathing, they will claim that they are winning. That is how fucking brainwashed these people are. Like, and I'm so sad to say that a nation can be like that. Same with North Korea. Like, people have been just, like, if you look at North Korea as a nation, for example, and then look at South Korea, both of them are literally just, next to each other. Well, literally below, like, top, bottom. One of them, South Korea. Lights everywhere. Then you look at North Korea. Light in one spot. They're literally like 50 years apart. And it's like, this is literally what, just forcing people to think one certain way and liking one person for, just, I don't know. But yeah, that's, they're not gonna allow anyone to fucking drop supplies off. They're just lying to make themselves look good. And I want to know how Russia has supposedly been helping them with, reconstruction efforts, if there are any. Where the fuck is Russia getting these supplies from? They don't even have vehicles to, like, they didn't have vehicles for their, parade that they do every year. Like, Ukraine was like, oh, hey, we know that you have a manpower shortage, so, and that you have very little vehicles, and that the military front is almost in Moscow, so we're not going to launch any attacks so that you can actually have this thing. Like, it's that bad. Like, so Russia's not. Russia must be saying some bullshit to them. Either that or Iran's also saying some bullshit. I don't know. Iran's saying a lot of bullshit at this point in time.
Yeah, he said, she said, and all that. Well, we're going to move on. You got anything else on it, Rev?
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know the rules. Just leave your thoughts in the chat, in the comments section if you're watching this after. Yeah. All right, we're going to move now to Donald Trump's signal support for suspending the federal gas tax amid surging prices. In a notable policy shift aimed at addressing the pain at the pump, President Donald Trump expressed strong support on Monday, May 11, 2026, for temporarily suspending the federal gasoline tax as American drivers grapple with the elevated fuel costs exacerbated by the ongoing conflict in Iran. Speaking in a phone interview with CBS News and later to reporters, Trump described the idea as a great idea, stating, "Yep, we're going to take off the gas tax for a period of time, and when gas goes down, we'll let it phase back in." He indicated the suspension would last until it's appropriate, trying relief directly to the resolution of tensions that have disrupted global oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz. This announcement built on comments from Energy Secretary Chris Wright the previous day on NBC Meet the Press, where he affirmed that the administration is open to all ideas to lower costs for consumers and businesses. The federal gas tax currently stands at 18.4 cents per gallon on gasoline and 24.4 cents per gallon on diesel. While this amount represents a relatively small portion of the total price per gallon, especially as the national average hovered around 452 amid the Iranian-related disruptions, proponents argue that every bit of relief counts for families, truckers, farmers, and small businesses facing higher transportation and shipping expenses. The timing of Trump's remarks is closely linked to the broader economic pressures stemming from the Middle East conflict. Disruptions in oil shipments have kept crude prices elevated, pushing retail gasoline costs significantly higher than pre-war levels. Trump has repeatedly noted that once the situation with Iran stabilizes, prices could drop like a rock. But in the interim, he sees targeted tax relief as a way to ease the burden on Americans. Some observers also point to political considerations with midterm elections approaching later in 2026 as high energy prices have weighed on public sentiment and approval ratings. However, implementing such a suspension is not within the president's unilateral power. As multiple reports emphasize, it would require congressional approval through legislation. Republicans control both chambers of Congress, which could smooth the path, and several GOP lawmakers moved quickly to introduce or support bill. Senators Josh Hawley of Missouri announced legislation to suspend the tax, while Representative Anna Paulina Luna of Florida and others signaled similar efforts. Bipartisan interest has also surfaced in the past on this issue, though past attempts during previous price spikes have faced hurdles. Economists and analysts estimate that a full suspension could cost the federal government billions in lost revenue. The gas tax is a primary funding source of the Highway Trust Fund, which reports road, bridge, and public transit infrastructure projects nationwide generate more than $23 billion annually. A multi-month pause might drain roughly $2 billion or more per month from this fund, depending on consumption levels, potentially necessitating transfers from general revenue or adding to the federal deficit if not fully offset. Critics, including transportation industry groups like the American Road and Transportation Builders Association, warned that such moves could jeopardize long-term infrastructure investments and note that retailers do not always pass on the full savings to consumers due to market dynamics. Supporters counter that the immediate relief for drivers, potentially shaving about 18 cents off the price per gallon, outweighs these concerns in a time of crisis, especially when combined with other measures like strategic petroleum reserves releases. Several states have already taken similar actions on their own fuel taxes, providing President and additional layered relief in some regions. Trump's proposal envisions a temporary measure that would automatically phase back in once price normalized, aiming to avoid permanent revenue loss while delivering short-term help. The debate highlights deeper tensions in U.S. energy and fiscal policy. No one side there is pressure to shield consumers from geopolitical shocks. On the other, concerns about underfunding critical infrastructure at a time when roads and bridges already face maintenance backlogs. Experts suggest the net impact on pump prices would be modest compared to the influence of global oil markets. But in a high-price environment, even small reductions can provide psychological and practical relief to household budgeting tightly. As lawmakers begin drafting and debating specific bills in the oncoming days, the proposal is likely to spark vigorous discussions about balancing immediate consumer needs against long term fiscal and infrastructure responsibilities. Whether Congress acts swiftly remains to be seen, but Trump's public endorsement has clearly accelerated momentum for a federal gas tax holiday in response to the current energy challenges. Now, moving to the discussing questions, um, given that a federal gas tax suspension would provide only modest relief at the pump while potentially costing billions in highway trust fund revenue, do you believe do you believe it represents effective short-term policy, or should lawmakers prioritize alternative measures like increasing domestic production or strategic reserves instead? Number two, how might the requirement for congressional approval and the political dynamics in a Republican controlled Congress influence the likelihood and design of this tax suspension? Could partisan negotiations lead to stronger offsets for infrastructure funding or risk delay in watered down versions? Which I think that's E15. Um, Number three, in a broader context of energy policy and economic pressure from international conflicts like the one with Iran, what are the long term implications of relying on temporary tax holiday versus more structural reforms, such as indexing the gas tax to inflation or investing in alternative energy infrastructure? Let us know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Rev, what do you got?
See, the reason the economics or economists, the whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. The reason why they are basically trying to be like, oh well, let's have this instead of the bill, is because let me pull it up. Come on, in 1932, that's when this whole entire thing was put in motion, to fix a budget shortfall, because it was for deficit reduction, not road construction, like they're saying. In 1956 is when it was raised to 3 cents to fund the interstate highway system. So in 56 is when it was actually starting to be used for road construction. And it was then in 1993 was when it was raised to the standard of, like what you said, 18.4 cents for the and it has remained that way. And obviously several people have tried to get it changed, but hey, we want to stay that way. And obviously when that 18.4 was put in, the gas prices have had to go up significantly, but steadily, because hey, let's add this on. And then, it's like, oh, well, guess we gotta increase gas prices because, well, we were able to keep it low, but now that there's extra money being taxed, it's going to you guys. We aren't getting the profits, so we need to raise money. That's pretty much how that's working. So if he's lowering it, it's gonna lower, slightly lower the money we have to pay. Well, not me because I don't drive, but you and everyone else that does.
Right.
So personally, I think it's great. But, and the fact that it's partial is probably why it's going to go through. Everyone else was probably trying to get rid of it, and that's why they were like, no.
Oh, that's some pretty good insight there. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to move on to Donald Trump nominates Cameron Hamilton to lead FEMA in a dramatic comeback. President Donald Trump nominated Cameron Hamilton on Monday, May 11, 2026, to serve as the Department Administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, marking a striking political comeback for the former Navy SEAL who was ousted from the agency, acting like leadership role almost exactly 1 year earlier. If confirmed by the Senate, Hamilton would become the first permanent head of FEMA in Trump's second term, serving as the principal federal officials responsible for coordinating disaster response, preparedness, and recovery efforts across the nation. Hamilton, 39, 40-year-old Republican from Virginia, brings a background steeped in military and national security service, a fourth-generation service member. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 2005 as a hospital corpsman and served with SEAL Team 8 on multiple overseas deployments during Operation Enduring Freedom. He later transitioned to civilian roles, including work as an emergency management specialist at the Department of State, supporting crisis response and counter-terrorism efforts. At the Department of Homeland Security, he served as a director of the Emergency Medical Services Division, overseeing programs for thousands of first responders and operational medical support. Prior to his initial FEMA appointment, he worked in business strategy for a defense contractor. Hamilton's first stint at FEMA began in January 2005 when he was appointed acting administrator. His tenure proved short-lived and controversial. On May 7, 2005, he testified before a House Appropriations Subcommittee, defending the agency's vital role in supporting communities during disasters and explicitly opposing proposal to dismantle or severely weaken FEMA. The following day, he was fired. The move came amid broader discussions in early Trump administration about restructuring or reducing the agency footprint, and it drew criticism from some lawmakers who viewed it as retaliation against a public servant prioritizing operational needs over politics. Despite the abrupt departure, Hamilton's willingness to speak candidly about FEMA's importance appears to have resonated with the administration upon reflection. Reports indicate that after months of turnover in acting leadership and ongoing challenges with disaster response coordination, Trump decided to bring Hamilton back in a permanent capacity. The nomination reflects a pragmatic shift, valuing Hamilton's operational experience and demonstrated independence on key issues. Hamilton's path also includes a successful 2024 bid for Congress in Virginia's 7th District, where he ran in the Republican primary. A husband and father of three, he has described himself as a committed Christian and family man dedicated to public service. Supporters highlight his combat medic expertise, leadership under pressure, and hands-on approach to emergency management, while skeptics note that his relatively limited direct experience managing large-scale natural disasters prior to joining FEMA. The timing of the nomination comes as the U.S. faces ongoing recovery efforts from various regional disasters and prepares for the 2026 hurricane season. Confirmation hearings are expected to focus on Hamilton's vision for FEMA reform, including efficiency improvements, cost control, coordination with states, and balancing federal disaster aid with fiscal responsibility. Democrats and some emergency management advocates may press him on past administration proposals to cut non-disaster grants and restructure the agency. Hamilton's return story has drawn bipartisan interest and media attention as a rare instance of an official being renominated after dismissal. It underscores themes of redemption, institutional loyalty, and adaptation within the administration approach to homeland security and disaster management. As the Senate begins its review process, Hamilton's confirmation could stabilize leadership at a critical federal agency responsible for billions in annual aid in life-saving operations. Now, ending discussing questions. Number one, does Cameron Hamilton's public defense of FEMA in 2025, which led to his firing, demonstrates principled leadership in courage, or does it raise questions about his alignment with the administration's broader goals for government efficiency and reform? Given Hamilton, number two, given Hamilton's strong military and national security background, but relatively limited prior experience in large-scale civilian disaster management, how might this leadership shape FEMA's priorities in areas like hurricanes response, wildfire recovery, and climate-related emergencies? And number three, in what ways could Hamilton's renomination and potential confirmation influence morale within FEMA, relationships with state and local governments, and ongoing debates about the future size, role, and funding of the agency? Let us know in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know in the chat. Rev, what do you got about this Hamilton guy?
I don't really know much about him, but let's all be honest. The Coast Guard is part of the military. FEMA uses the Coast Guard. With this guy having a strong military background, he's gonna kind of know how to use them more effectively when big disasters come, like hurricanes. Like, we've all seen when hurricanes happen, the Coast Guard comes, the helicopters and the boats and everything, and gets people. You know,
Yeah.
when like somebody with a strong military background is going to kind of know how to use them with a little bit more logistical know-how than somebody who, you know, doesn't really know how to do that. Like, let's all be honest here. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just some person, you know, who just graduated high school and didn't do really anything else. Just didn't, like, just doing a podcast. Like,
Anyway, I started blasting.
yeah, anyways, started blasting. So let's all be honest here. He probably has a little more qualifications than all of us.
He does. He does.
I mean, they're probably just going to use the Waffle House Index anyways for everything.
More than likely. Again, let us know in the comment section. And we're going to move now to the Supreme Court temporarily restores nationwide access to abortion pill. Mifepristone. The Mifepristone. Hopefully I'm saying that right. In a significant development in the ongoing legal battles over reproductive rights, the U.S. Supreme Court has once again stepped into contentious debate surrounding mifepristone, the primary drug used in medication abortion across the United States. As of May 11th, 2026, the court has extended a temporary administrative stay that preserves broad access to the abortion pill, including through telehealth prescriptions and mail delivery. While litigation continues in lower courts, this latest intervention comes in response to a challenge from the state of Louisiana, which sought to reinstate stricter in-person dispensing requirements, highlighting the persistent volatility in post-Dobbs abortion policy. The current dispute traces back to actions by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, which in recent years eased restrictions on mifepristone. These changes allowed certified providers to prescribe the drug via telemedicine and enable patients to receive it by mail or at pharmacies without an initial in-person visit to a clinical or clinician, in other words. Sorry about that. Mifepristone, often used in combination with misoprostol, now accounts for approximately 60% or more of all abortions in the country. Give me a moment. Making it a cornerstone of reproductive health care, particularly in states where surgical options face heavy restrictions. The latest flare-up began when Louisiana, a Republican-led state with some of the nation's strictest abortion laws, filed a lawsuit challenging the FDA's relaxed rules. A panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit sided with the state in early May 2026, issuing a ruling that would have required in-person visits nationwide for obtaining the medicine or medication. Drug manufacturers Danco Laboratories, which produces the branded Mifeprex and GenBio Pro, a generic version, swiftly appealed to the Supreme Court, warning of regulatory chaos, immediate confusion for patients and providers, and potential disruptions to time-sensitive medical care. They described the Fifth Circuit order unprecedented in its scope. On May 4th, Justice Samuel Alito, who handles emergency applications from the Fifth Circuit, issued an administrative stay, temporarily blocking the appeal court's restrictions and restoring the status quo. The order required parties to file additional briefs by May 7th and initially set an expiration for the stay at 5 p.m. on May 11th. As of today, reports indicate the Supreme Court has pushed the deadline further, extending the pause at least until May 14th to allow more time for consideration. This move keeps nationwide access intact while the full court evaluates whether to grant a long-term stay or take up the case on the merits. Abortion rights advocates and providers have welcomed the temporary relief, arguing that any rollback would disproportionately harm women in rural areas. Those with limited access to clinics in patients in states with abortion bans who rely on out-of-state telehealth services. They emphasize Mifepristone, long-established safety record backed by extensive clinical data and FDA oversight. Opponents, including Louisiana Attorney General Liz Muriel and anti-abortion groups, contend that the FDA overstepped its authority and that in-person requirements are necessary to protect women's health, citing concerns over potential complications and the need for medical supervision. This case represents another chapter in the Supreme Court's post-2022 engagement with abortion issues. In June 2024, the justice anonymously rejected a separate challenge to Mifepristone approval and access expansions, ruling that the plaintiffs lacked standing. However, that decision did not address the underlying regulatory. Oh my God, I missed my part now. Oh, my eyes moved, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, don't you love it? Regulatory questions, leaving the door open for new stated or state-led challenges like Louisiana. Legal experts know that the current matter could eventually force the court to confront broader questions about federal preemption of state abortion restrictions and the limits of FDA authority over drugs used in medication abortions. The practical impacts of any final ruling could be far-reaching. A decision upholding stricter in-person rules might complicate access even in states where abortion remains legal, potentially exacerbating provider shortages and increasing costs for patients. Conversely, affirming the FDA's approach would solidify telehealth and mail order options as a resilient pathway for reproductive care amid patchwork of state laws. Providers have already begun preparing contingency plans, such as shifting to an in-clinic protocols or stockpiling supplies in an anticipation of further uncertainty. As the Supreme Court deliberates, the case underscores the deep division that persists in American society over abortion more than 3 years after the overturning of Roe versus Wade. With medications, abortion is now the dominant method nationwide. The outcome could shape reproductive health care for millions in years ahead. Further briefs and potential arguments may provide clearer signals on the justices' leaning in the coming weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, discussing question time. Number one, given the Supreme Court's history of preserving mifepristone access in prior rulings while issuing only temporary stays, in the latest case, do you think the court is likely to ultimately uphold broad telehealth and mail order access, or might allow states greater leeway to impose in-person requirements? Number two, how might restrictions or expansions in access to abortion pill like the mifepristone affect women in different parts of the country, particularly those in states with bans versus those with protective laws? And what role should the FDA play relatively to state governments in regulating such medications? In the broader context of the reproductive rights after Dobbs, what are potential long-term implications of relying on medication abortion and telehealth for access? And how could this influence ongoing political legislative debates at both federal and state levels? Let us know in the comment section what you guys think. We are now learning more about this now. Rev, you don't have nothing for this, right?
I'm not very well versed on like abortion medication, or actually I'm just not well versed in medication at really all to say much about it other than
Well, ladies that are
aspirin
gonna
or Tylenol.
Well, ladies that are watching the show, let us know in the comment section, what do you think about this? Welcome to Unbound. If you're here trying to find out more about the mifepristone, hopefully I'm saying that right. And yeah.
Yeah, congratulations if you found our show and you're suddenly apparently hearing about an abortion medicine.
Yeah, but I mean
That's your introduction to 67.6 FM Unbound.
67.6 Unbound. All right. We're going to move now to back to the hantavirus. The outbreak linked to Antarctic cruise ship sparks international concerns. Again, we're going to be touching this again because there we have updates as of today. So, but as you guys already know, that a rare cluster of hantavirus infection aboard expedition cruise ship has drawn global attention in the early May of 2026, marking an unusual outbreak for a virus typically associated with rodent exposure in rural or wilderness settings rather than maritime travel. The incident involves the Dutch flag MV Hindius, which departed Ushuaia, Argentina, on April 1st for a journey through Antarctic waters and remote South Atlantic islands. Health authorities, including the World Health Organization, the WHO, and the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, have confirmed the case, or the cases, as linked to the Andes virus, ANDV, strain, the only known hantavirus capable of limited person-to-person transmission, usually requiring close and prolonged contact. The outbreak first came to light on May 2nd when the United Kingdom notified WHO of severe acute respiratory illness among passengers and crew. Initial cases presented with fever, headache, gastrointestinal symptoms, and rapid progression to respiratory distress in some instances. As of May 11, 2026, reports indicate approximately 7 to 9 total cases, with 7 confirmed and 2 probable or suspected. Tragically, 3 people have died, yielding a high case fatality ratio around 38% among reported cases. Patients include individuals of various nationalities. Sorry about that. Various nationalities with confirmed infections involving passengers from the UK, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and others. Several remain hospitalized, including one in intensive care in South Africa. Investigations point to an initial rodent exposure, likely during shore excursions or bird watching activities in areas where hantavirus carrying rodents are present. In parts of South America, once introduced, limited secondary transmissions appear to have occurred within close quarters, such as cabins. The ship carrying around 147 passengers and crew from over 20 nationalities was quarantined off Cape Verde before moving towards the Canary Islands for safer disembarkation. Evacuations have proceeded with medical support, and passengers have been repatriated to their homes. To their home countries under monitoring protocols. And now the updates as of today, reparation efforts intensified over the weekend. 18 passengers, primarily Americans, arrived in the United States and are under medical monitoring. 16 at a facility in Nebraska, and 2 of the Emory University in Atlanta. At least one U.S. passenger, shout out to Delta, at least one U.S. passenger has, Rev, shout out to Delta in Atlanta.
It's 2.
He's gotta deal with that. Huh?
It's 2 actually. 2 of them are in Georgia.
Oh, 2 of them in Georgia? Okay, so 2 of them are in Georgia. At least one U.S. passenger has tested positive for the Andes virus, but remains asymptomatic, while another exhibits mild symptoms. Additional cases have been reported among repatriated passengers in France, and monitoring is underway of others in the UK and elsewhere. No evidence of broader community spread has emerged, and health officials continue to contact tracing. They continue contact tracing. The ship itself is being managed with ongoing quarantines for remaining crew and passengers. Both World Health Organization and the CDC have repeatedly emphasized that the risk to the general public remains extremely low. Unlike respiratory viruses that spread easily through casual contact, this hantavirus requires specific conditions for transmission. Routine travel is not restricted, and experts stress this is not indicative of a wider pandemic threat. Incubation periods can extend up to 6 weeks, so additional cases among those exposed may still surface, prompting continued vigilance by public health teams. Hantavirus in general causes 2 main syndromes. Hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, more common in Asia and Europe, and hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, HPS. The severe respiratory form seen here and more typical in the Americas. There is no specific cure or approved vaccine. Treatment focuses on supportive care, including oxygen and mechanical ventilation in critical cases. Prevention centers on avoiding rodents, contact, and properly cleaning areas with potential droppings. This event has renewed discussions about biosecurity on expeditions, crews to remote regions, and challenges of managing infectious diseases in isolated settings. While hantavirus outbreaks are uncommon, typically linked to rural rodent infestations rather than ships. The unique circumstances here include the Andes strains, transmission potential, have heightened security. U.S. officials, including statements associated with the administrations, have downplayed broader lockdown concerns, aligning with scientific assessments that the situation is contained. Public health responses continue across multiple countries, with laboratories sequencing the virus to better understand its characteristics. as monitoring extends into the coming weeks, authorities remain confident that swift international coordination has limited the outbreak's reach. For more people, everyday precautions against rodents in homes and workplaces remained the primary defense against this family of viruses. Now, ending discussing questions. How does the limited person-to-person transmission capability of the Andes hantavirus strain change traditional understandings of the hantavirus risk, particularly in confined settings like cruise ships, and what lessons might apply to future travel biosecurity? Number 2, given the high fatality rate in this cluster, but overall low risk to the general public as assessed by WHO and CDC, how should public health messaging balance transparency about severe cases with avoiding unnecessary panic? In what ways, number 3, in what ways could this outbreak influence policies and expedition tourism, rodent control in ports, or international health regulations, especially as incubation periods allow for potential cases to appear after travelers return home? Let us know in the comment section. Rev, what do you got for me?
I honestly don't know how it even got this far. Like I was saying before, why would you not just keep them like quarantined on a ship? Like the moment you saw two or three people dead without any explanation, wouldn't you be like, well, it could possibly be, that like there's no stab wounds, there's no gunshots, there's might be poison. So let's lock down the ship, just in case. You don't want anything, let's inform somebody, like local, authorities, get them to sail out here, fly out, whatever. Blah, 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 like, no, they're just like, no, it seemed like a good idea. Drop these bastards off so they can go and infect more people. Like, to keep them on the ship, like I said, like the first time, like, I don't know. Like, I understand eventually you're gonna run out of food, but like, for the time being, that was probably the smartest idea. Would have been to keep them on the ship and let people, like some people, fly in, figure out what the hell's going on, and be like, oh fuck, you got an infection going on. We're gonna go fly in some specialists after we let them know. Bibbidi bobbidi boop. Like,
Yeah, that's a fact, though. Oh. Do you think that now all these mouses that people are going to have in their homes this year are going to have the hantavirus?
no, definitely not.
Do you think this is going to turn out like another maybe COVID-19?
Kind of like when the whole bird flu thing was going on. It wasn't like every fucking bird was, infected, or like the whole cow, whatever thing it was. Not every cow was infected with it. Like, it's, like, people are gonna get perked up over it and blah 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 blah. Like,
Yeah. Again, let us know in the comment section. We always want to hear from you and see what you got. See what you got in mind. See your opinion. See to let us know that you would like to engage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move to Alabama Congressional District map. Battle heats up ahead of 2026 midterms. Alabama's congressional district boundaries have become the epicenter of a fierce national redistricting fight in May 2026, as Republican lawmakers and the state attorney general push aggressively to replace the current court order map with one that would likely restore a 6-1 Republican advantage in the state's 7 U.S. House seats. The fast-moving developments triggered by a recent U.S. Supreme Court the decision weakening key provisions of the Voting Rights Act could dramatically reshape representation in the states just weeks before this scheduling May 19 primary elections. Since the 2020 census, Alabama redistricting process has been marked by repeated legal challenges. In 2023, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Allen versus Milligan that the state's initial maps likely violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act by diluting black voting strength, with roughly 27% of Alabama's population being black. The court required the creation of a second district where black voters would have an opportunity to elect their preferred candidate. A federal court ultimately imposed a remedial map featuring one solidly majority black district, the seventh represented by Democrat Terry Sowell, in a second opportunity district, the second currently held by Democrat Shamari Figures, where black voters make up a plurality of the voting plurality. That's what I meant to say. Plurality of the voting age population. This configuration resulted in 5 Republican-held seats and 2 Democratic ones following the 2024 elections. That map has governed elections since 2024, but Alabama Republicans have never accepted it as final. On May 1st, 2026, following the Supreme Court's ruling in Louisiana versus Callis, which significantly limited the use of race as a predominant factor in drawing district lines, Governor Kay Ivey called a special legislative session. Lawmakers quickly passed the governor signed legislation allowing for new special primaries if courts permit that the state to revert its 2023 map. The original plan contained only one majority black district, spreading black voters more thinly across other districts in ways that would likely flip the second district back to Republican control and potentially put the 7th in play. As of May 11th, the legal maneuvering has reached a fever pitch. Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall filed emergency appeals with both a federal district court and U.S. Supreme Court, seeking to lift long-standing injunctions that bar mid-decade redistricting. A 3-judge federal panel recently denied an immediate stay, stating lacked authority while the matters is before the nation's highest court. But the Supreme Court could rule at any moment, potentially as early as May 14th. Black lawmakers and civil rights groups have strongly opposed the moves, describing them as an attempt to roll back gains in minority representation and warning of Jim Crow 2.0. The potential shift carries major implications under the 23 map favored by the Republicans. Analysts project a return to 6 safe Republican seats. This could represent a net gain of one seat for the GOP nationally in a closely divided House, where every seat matters for control in 2026 midterms. Incumbents in affected districts, including those in the 1st, 2nd, 6th, 7th, face new primary challenges or entirely new general election dynamics if boundaries change after some early voting has already begun. The controversy has exposed deep partisan and racial divides within Alabama. Republican leaders argue that state should have the authority to draw its own maps, without judicial interference based on racial quota, emphasizing traditional redistricting principles like compactness and respect for country lines. Democrat and voting rights advocates counter that the effort is a transparent attempt to surpass minority voting power and maintain disproportionate Republican dominance despite demographic realities. Emotional debates in the state legislature have highlighted these tensions, with some black lawmakers decrying the process as a regression in representation. Regardless of the immediate court outcome, Alabama's district map saga underscores the ongoing national struggle over redistricting rules post 2020 census, with primaries looming and legal deadlines tightening. The coming days could determine not only how Alabamians vote in 2026, but also set precedents for similar challenges in other southern states. The resolution will likely influence the balance of power in Congress and the broader conversation about race representation and fairness in American elections. Discussing questions, ladies and gentlemen. Should states like Alabama have broad authority to redo or redraw congressional maps mid-decade following changes in Supreme Court precedent, or allowing such changes or does allowing such changes so close to elections undermine voter confidence in electoral stability? Number two, how might reverting to a map with only one majority black district affect political representation for Alabama's black population, and what role should race play or not play as a factor in drawing future district boundaries? And number three, in a narrowly divided U.S. House, what are the broader national implications if Alabama successfully flips a Democratic seat through redistricting? And how could this influence similar redistricting battles in other states ahead of 2026 midterms? Let us know in the comment sections, ladies and gentlemen. Rev, help me here.
Oh, you think that's bad? So, you know the states that are the states that are associated with being like the New England states, right? Like Rhode Island, Massachusetts, all the way up to Maine, those states. Well, they redistrict themselves to where there were, I want to say one or two, maybe three of them were like red states. They redistrict themselves to where now all of them are blue.
Wow.
And nobody knew about it, right?
Uh-huh.
And nobody knew about this until Virginia did it. And then everyone was like, why is this happening? People started looking into it. And then the South started doing it, like southern states. And it's like, okay, why the fuck is everyone doing this? And it was literally all because of those states. And it's like, yeah, I don't think any state should, can redistrict themselves. It's bullshit. Like, it has nothing to do with race, religion. It's like no. It's politics. They want, oh, well, I want my state to be this in person, party, so I see it has more of this party in it, so if I redistrict, I'm gonna have like this political party is gonna have control over it, and they're gonna probably win the election. It's bullshit. It's like, oh, or maybe your fucking person campaigns and is a genuinely better person. Like, I don't know. I just honestly I don't like doing politics, because it's like there's so many better things to talk about and more enjoyable things to talk about. Like, it's like
do I talk about this boring, stupid ass shit, or do I talk about really cool thing that is, like, I don't know.
You mean like this national tragedy that happened? Well, this tragedy that happened, over the weekend with Frontier Airlines flight strikes and kills a guy on a runway, a trespasser at Denver Airport. Is that what you're talking about? Because that's
Well,
what we're
maybe he
about to
should.
talk about right now.
Maybe he shouldn't have fucking run onto the runway like a dumbass. He deserves what he gets.
Well, a tragic and highly unusual incident unfolded late Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, on May 8th, 2026, at the Denver International Airport. When a Frontier Airlines jet bound for Los Angeles struck and killed a person who had illegally breached the perimeter fence and entered an active runway during takeoff. The event involving Frontier Flight 4345 and an Airbus A321 carrying 224 passengers and 7 crew members triggered an engine fire, forced an emergency evacuation, and has since raised fresh questions about airport perimeter security and runway safety protocols. According to airport officials in multiple reports, the unidentified individual scaled a perimeter fence and was on a runway 17L for approximately 2 minutes before being struck by the accelerating aircraft around 11:19 p.m. local time. The person was reportedly partially ingested into one of the plane's engines, causing immediate damage, a brief but intense engine fire, and smoke that filled parts of the cabin. Let me pause right here. You think those people smelled the fresh skin burning? Oh my god. Pilots boarded the takeoff near decision speed, declared an emergency, and brought the aircraft to a stop. Denver Fire Department crews quickly extinguished the fire. Passengers described the moment of impact as a feeling like an explosion or a violent thud, followed by panic as smoke entered the cabin, and the crew initiated an evacuation using emergency slides. All 231 people on board were safely evacuated through 12 passenger, 12 though 12 passengers reported minor injuries such as cuts, sprains, and smoke inhalation. 5 were transported to local hospitals for evaluation. Many passengers later recounted the chaos, with some noting that the professionalism of the flight crew in managing the high-stress situation.
Well, technically, since he was still, halfway into the engine, doesn't that mean that he was also on board? Would that mean 232 passengers?
Now that's a question for the manifestation that they give to the airport, or to the, what's it called, to the the people who they give the paperwork to, the company. But as an update as of today, the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, has launched an investigation focusing not only on the trespass incident, but also on the evacuation procedure, engine performance, and overall response. I mean, I can tell you that engine did awesome. We can't even show you the pictures. It's how graphic
Yeah,
that
well,
is.
how the fuck is it, the pilot or the plane's fault? Some dumbass decided to get past the fucking perimeter fence, run onto a obviously active fucking, you know, airfield, and be like, I clearly hear this loud ass noise, on me. I wonder where it's
Yeah, yeah.
what the fuck did he think was gonna happen? Did he think the plane was gonna go, excuse me, mister, could you move? No, motherfucker, it's a goddamn plane. It's like the fucking fire truck, movie that you probably all fucking watch as a kid. Beep beep, fire truck. It's a fucking plane, except it doesn't beep. It sucks you up into an engine.
Bad idea.
Am I wrong, though? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Bad
You're
idea.
not wrong.
Well, it happened. Thermal surveillance footage released publicly shows the individual climbing the fence and walking onto the runway moments before the collision. The identity of the deceased has not been publicly released, and authorities have not disclosed a motive of the fence breach. Transportation Security Sean Duffy and airport officials have strongly condemned the trespass, calling it a serious security violation. Frontier Airlines issued a statement expressing deep sadness over the loss of life, while praising the crew's actions and confirming that passengers were rebooked on alternative flights. Most travelers eventually continued to Los Angeles on a replacement aircraft. Denver International Airport, one of the busiest in the country, has reiterated that its perimeter security systems are robust, but acknowledged the ongoing review of this breach. No other flights were significantly disrupted beyond the immediate response. This incident stands out because fatal runway strikes involving pedestrians are extremely rare in modern U.S. commercial aviation. It has prompted renewed discussions about airport fencing, surveillance technology, and rapid response capabilities at large hubs. While the trespassers' actions directly caused the tragedy, the event also highlights the splitting-second decisions pilots and crew must make during critical phases of flight. As the NTSB investigation proceeds, officials expect preliminary findings in the coming weeks that could lead to recommendations on enhancing perimeter defenses at a major airport nationwide. It's just, like, you don't think that you're going to get sucked into a turbine with the massive amount of air that goes through that fucker to fly?
See,
Are you
seriously,
kidding me?
so you're telling me he climbed over the fence and then started walking? Like, well, what was this dude doing? He was probably like onto the
Yeah,
fucking.
just onto the runway, Hey, I'm gonna look at this airplane go right above my head. Little does he know that, got sucked into. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
little did he know it wasn't, taking off. It was landing
Yeah,
and just.
my god. Um, Ending discussing questions real quick. How should airports like Denver International balance robust perimeter security with operational efficiency? And what new technologies or procedures might prevent similar trespass incidents in the future? Number two, given the pilot's successful aborted takeoff and safe evacuation under emergency conditions with smoke and fire, what does this incident reveal about crew training and aircraft safety systems in handling runaway anomalies? Sorry about that. In the broader context of aviation safety, how might this rare event influence public perception of air travel security, potential regulatory changes, or insurance and liability questions surrounding runaway incursions caused by intentional trespass? Rev.
Honestly, there's not much they can do. Just hire more guards. Like, it's the best thing I can say. You don't want to make the damn thing look like a military base.
No, but now it's just gonna be more security because people are dumbasses and they want to jump
I
a
mean,
fence and
that's
I
the
don't mean
best
to
thing.
call people dumbasses. It's just
No, he was a grade A dumbass. Grade A. Absolute grade A dumbass. He makes other dumbasses go, what a fucking dumbass.
Oh man, I mean he wins the award. He wins the award.
He fucking won a Darwin Award for sure. Fucking got rid of him. He took himself right out of the gene pool. And I mean, even if he didn't, off himself, he ain't using those balls no more.
Nope.
Mainly because he don't have anything from the waist below.
Right.
Shit was right into the damn engine.
Well, In other final news that we have on Jey Morales' side, we're going to go into the WWE Backlash of 2026. A pretty average show with a few bright spots and too many
Better than
misses.
WrestleMania.
Huh?
Better than WrestleMania.
No, it was shit. This whole article literally talks how shitty the show was. WWE Backlash 2026 took place this past Saturday, May 9th, at the Benchmark International Arena in Tampa, Florida. It was a mixed bag overall, coming off WrestleMania. The card felt short with only 5 matches and had the uneven, not quite premium feel. A couple of matches delivered, but too many others fell flat with questionable booking, filler, and finishes that didn't hit the mark. The show opened strong with Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Breaker looked like an absolute star. Powerful, fast, crisp. The mid-air spear counter on Rollins was one of the best spots of the night. They went over 20 minutes and the athleticism was there, but the results felt pretty predictable. And Rollins looked like a bit limited, like his body is paying the price from all the years. It was good, just not the blow-away match a lot of people expected. Now, Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States title was a clear.
With the pin gingerbread man.
Yeah, it was a clear step down. It had some crowd energy, but the wrestling itself was average at best. The match felt rushed at around 12 to 13 minutes. And the finish with Lil Yachty getting involved at ringside came off as forced and clunky. Williams retained, but most fans agreed that the whole thing was forgettable. The lowest point of the night, some say, was easily the tag team match with Danhausen and the Mini Housens. Taking the Miz and Kit Wilson. This comedy bit went way too long and felt completely out of place on a PLE. All the miniature wrestlers, silly curses, and dumb spots killed the momentum of the show. It was childish filler that had no business being on a major card, and a lot of people online trashed it really hard. And the one match that actually stood out was Io Sky versus Asuka. These two put on a really strong technical match full of crisp strikes and smooth wrestling for 15 or 18 minutes. Sky got the clean win, but what came after was the real moments. An emotional embrace between the two, with Asuka visibly emotional and tearing up. Many fans and analysts are now saying this was Asuka's last match in WWE. It had that passing the torch retirement vibe, and the way the segment was handled felt like a proper send-off for a legend who gave so much to the women's division. And sources do confirm on tonight's show of Raw, if you watched it, that Asuka did say to Io Sky that she feels like that she has given the opportunity to Io to now fill the to fill the shoes, to be the a mega star as Asuka was.
Well, that's because Asuka literally was Io's mentor.
I mean, Asuka. I meant Asuka, but Asuka.
Like Asuka was Kyrie and Io's mentor.
Yeah.
Like she trained both of them. That's why the release of Kyrie was so hard on Asuka. That's probably one of the driving factors on the retirement. Then her being a mom at the age of like 40, not being able to see your kid because her and her husband, or I should say the kid and her husband, are over in Japan. Well, she's having to be, in America wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, she also owns so the sources that I've found, that she owns a shop down in New York City that sells fetishes. You know what I mean? Toys, clothes.
I don't believe that's true because she is she is a massive video game like journalist and was and a graphic designer. And if you know anything about WWE, they always vet their people pretty hard. And if
Yeah.
they were to find that, like, they do it pretty much like every 6 months. So with that, if that was like to ever pop up, you know,
Yeah, like
the
Paige.
video game, the video game and everything kind of thing, and be like, oh, well, that's perfectly fine. People like that. But if all of a sudden something like that were to pop up, they'd be like, nope, gonna have to get rid of you. Because stuff like that in Japan, that's perfectly acceptable. In America, however, no, not so acceptable. And I
Right.
mean, she's not fucking stupid.
That's a fact.
Like, she's not gonna put her career on the line for that.
Yeet. Then we're gonna move now to
Acknowledge me.
the main event with Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu was another mixed bag. Fatu looked dominant for big chunks of the match and showed he belongs at the top level. But the finish was disappointing. Reigns cheated with an exposed turnbuckle, and then it hit the spear. It felt cheap for such a heated bloodline story. Fatu's brutal post-match attack on Reigns was intense, though definitely sets up more chapters. And finally,
Yeah,
Are you ready
Yeah,
for
like-
this Sunday night when WWE
yeah. Like, how are you gonna no sell the fucking Tongan death grip? Like, that is a protected fucking move. The whole entire thing about like you heard Solo go, oh hey, or was it Solo or Jay that was talking about the Tongan death grip? In that one promo, like about how fucking like that move is protected. When someone uses like a Samoan uses the Tongan death grip, you have to fucking like tap out. Like, it's kind of like Gunther's fucking like, chokehold.
uh-huh.
Only certain people are allowed to fucking break out of that. Like, it's only when you're retired, like retiring, is the whole, oh, pass the fuck out or set up for a fucking, pay-per-view event, is you fucking pass out in Gunther's fucking thing. There are certain moves that are just protected. Goldberg spear, attitude adjustment, Batista bomb, tombstone pile driver, swanton bomb. Every single time somebody does one of those, you have to go along with it. The flare chops, like it's written into your contract when that superstar goes to do that, you got to do that. That's why fucking, because when Fatu went to go do the fucking Tongan death grip, he did it 4 times. Fucking Roman no-sold that shit 4 times. And you could physically see Fatu getting pissed as fuck. Like, he got really angry during that match. He was like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah. And then we're going to finally move to the next, not the topic, but this next thing about what happened at Backlash.
And his name is John Cena.
John Cena also showed up and announced the John Cena Classic tournament, which got people talking and gave the show a nice boost. Overall, Backlash 2026 was average. It had moments, especially the Io and Asuka match, but too much filler, predictable outcomes, and weak creative choices dragged it down. It felt more like a TV
Yeah.
episode stretched
Yeah.
into a PLE than must-see event.
Yeah, The weak creative choices mainly went to the fucking John Cena Classic as bullshit.
Right.
Oh,
And his name
the
is John Cena!
best wrestler wins the John Cena Classic. You don't even have to have a good. You don't even have to win the match. As long as you're the best have the best performance, you win the belt. Motherfucker, that's not even how a tournament goes. You want to look at a tournament? Look at the fucking AEW one where you physically have to win every single match that night, and you get the Owen Hart Foundation trophy. Like, do you know how taxing that has to be? You gotta whoop every motherfucker's ass in that bracket to get to the championship and whoop another motherfucker's ass to win the belt.
Right.
Just like the one for TNA, where you gotta whoop every motherfucker's ass to hold on to a trophy that you can cash in at any motherfucking time to whoop a motherfucker's ass and take their belt. Like, oh, the John Cena Classic. Oh no, blah 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 blah. And it's a fucking the fucking WWE in spinner belt just with, you know, his fucking little like hustle, loyalty, respect in the center and on the fucking placards on the side. Like, oh, it's, I don't ever want to see that belt again. But oh, here we are.
Here we are. Ending discussing questions so we can move on to revelations topics. Which match let you down the most? The ridiculous Danhausen comedy segment, the celebrity interference in Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn, or the cheap finish in Reigns versus Fatu, and why?
It was definitely fucking the fucking gingerbread interference bullshit. Like, stop giving me celebrities. I can hate the celebrities interrupting people.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was.
Number 2, if Io Sky versus Asuka really was Asuka's last match, how do you feel about the way WWE handled her potential retirement? And was this the right way to send off a legend? And then number 3, with so much filler and average booking on this card, what does Backlash 2026 say about WWE's current creative direction heading into the rest of 2026? I mean, they got to do better. Like, I feel like before they moved to ESPN, it felt like more of a hype up. It wasn't such, like, as bad. As soon as they went into, they moved into ESPN and TKO, changed the whole directive.
It was as soon as TKO took over. Because you look at literally the year before TKO took over. They had good stages. There was no advertisements on the ring, nothing. Yeah, sure, Logan Paul was in there with his Prime, but Prime sat on the side of the ring. That was it. Then TKO came in and they're like, yeah, let's put the Prime right in the center of the ring. The fucking stage intros got fucking sloppy as shit. Fucking, you figure, look at the Backlash logo. It literally looks like fucking SmackDown Live from during the COVID era. Remember Backlash from when we were a kid?
Yeah.
How awesome that fucking thing was.
That's why you know who we need back. We need the. We need this guy back.
You stay here! You stay here with Stephanie! You take me to him! Take me to the son of a bitch! Take me to him! Come on! Go!
Let's take them right to TKO so he can say this.
Yeah!
Nah, because then the women's division is going to get completely ruined. And honestly, they're right now the only ones that are actually worth watching.
I mean,
that is better shows than the men.
That is the truth.
That's kind of the scary thing.
And then you die.
It's bad when the women's division is wrestling better than the men's. I don't mean any disrespect to the women watching, but for real.
Thanks a lot, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, fuck you, Vince McMahon.
Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take this moment of the show before we end the show with Revelations topics. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the Caveville Hotel and Tavern, located down in Kleinfeltersville, Pennsylvania. They're open from Wednesday to Sunday, 4 to 9, Wednesday and Thursday, 4 to 10 Friday, 12 to 10 Saturday, 12 to 8 Sunday. They're located down at 2647 Heidelberg Avenue, Kleinfeltersville, Pennsylvania, 17039. Phone number 717-949-8413. Make sure to call for any reservations or any questions. Pretty decent place. Go check it out, guys. If you're in the area of Kleinfeltersville, Pennsylvania, I will go down and visit Seth and JV at the Caveville and tried out their peanut butter and jelly burger and sliders there and their wings, ladies and gentlemen. I hear that they're very, very good. This is also brought to you by Atlas Epoxy Floors. They're located down in Milford, Connecticut. They do a lot of different work. They do garages, basement patios, lobbies, countertops, you name it. Whatever you need epoxy, Bradford Kelly will do it for you. You can contact them at 203-496-6386. You can also email them at brad.kelly@Atlas Epoxy Floors, or you can visit their website for any other questions, www.atlasepoxyfloors.com. Bradford Kelly is the CEO and owner of the business, so whatever questions you got, he will have the answers to them. If you're also wondering if they can travel outside of Connecticut, yes, they can. Just hit up Bradford Kelly, again, at 203-496-6386. We also have one of our main sponsors of the show, Velocity Restorations, Velocity Modern Classics. You can visit them at 15 East Quintet Road in Canton, Florida. 32533 is the zip code. VelocityRestorations.com for any other questions or concerns that you might have. If you cannot reach them at 850-466-1810 for additional questions or concerns. They're open from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They work on a lot of vehicles, guys. A lot of vehicles that get out of the production line. It is not a classic, it's classic vehicles that look modern, ladies and gentlemen. So unless your pockets are deep, you can work on your car and send it in and see what they can do for you. But if you are looking for a beautiful Mustang or an F-150, 250, 350, make sure to hit them up. All right, Velocity Restorations. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on a show. Yes, I'm on another podcast called The Producer Mike Presents in the Jessup Show Legacy channel. The podcast is called In There, The Movement. All right, you can catch us every Tuesday. Again, I know on Friday I said Sunday we had a show, but Mr. Producer Mike decided to get heavily drunk at 6 o'clock in the morning, Vegas time, and did a 3-hour show, just drinking his life away, ladies and gentlemen. Don't know what the hell Producer Mike was thinking, but we are live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure to tune in while we talk to an AI lady that is stuck in Gaia, and she's being really rude. And join us on some sessions of drinking, and if you partake on some smoke, come and join us. That's the only channel that you'll ever see me do that. You will not see me do that here. So come and hang out. It's a different dynamic. It isn't news. If you just want to hang out and banter and be a part of this show, you can come visit again at the Producer Mike Presents and the Jessup Show Legacy channel on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I also had advertised here that there's a secondary podcast on the show. It has been retreated. The show was called The Retreat with Colonel Josh and JPA Jeff Cheney, but the show has been retreated, has been canceled, ladies and gentlemen, until further notice. Other than that, we're going to send it now to a good friend of ours, Revelation.
And on further notice, those sponsors are all good friends of 67.6 FM Unbound.
Hell yeah.
The cream of the crop!
But so if you are, big fans of Dr. Pepper like I am, they have just unveiled the world's largest Dr. Pepper bottle. And they have stated, and I quote, "It is a bold tribute." The Dr. Pepper Museum in Waco, Texas, unveiled a 23-foot tall fiberglass replica of. God, stop giving me fucking advertisements. But,
The cream of the crop!
okay, of the fiberglass replica of a Dr. Pepper bottle on the 9th of May to mark its 35th anniversary. The sculpture, which displays historic logos from the brand's 140-year history, was funded by a $1 million donation from the Hillman Family Foundation. It adds a new roadside attraction style landmark to downtown Waco. The installation was unveiled on May the 9th, 2026 during Dr. Pepper Museum's 35th anniversary. Like I said before, it's 23 feet tall and made of fiberglass. Each side of the bottle shows two historic Dr. Pepper logos, the 60s style, 60s modern style, and the Vim, Vigor, Vitality design used from the mid-1800s to the early 1900s. The bottle does not contain any beverage, obviously. And the project, like I said, was a $1 million donation from the Hillman Family Foundation on behalf of Cornerstone Caregiving. I think there's follow-up questions. Yeah, actually, I think I can. Yeah, no, there's no follow-up questions in that for some fucking reason. Yeah, and that is it.
That is it? That's all we got?
Yeah,
For a Monday?
yeah. Because I bopped up the one from earlier, and then there was that one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for tonight's episode of Unbound. Tonight we covered a week the weekend that once again, right? A week? No, we didn't even cover a week, ladies and gentlemen. We covered about 5 days worth of news, right?
Sometime period.
Some period, okay? But we did it again. All right, we did it once again. We show just how chaotic and interconnected our world has become, from rising international tensions and major policy moves in Washington to court battles, public health scares, political redistricting drama, and wrestling fallout. We started with the Iran War Daily Chronicle from May 9th through May 11, 2026, where the fragile ceasefire between the Israel and Iran continues to deteriorate amid stalled negotiations. Strait of Hormuz incidents and new developments surrounding Project Freedom. We also broke down President Trump's support for suspending the federal gas tax as fuel prices climb, his surprise renomination of Cameron Hamilton to lead FEMA, and the Supreme Court's latest decision temporarily protecting nationwide access to the abortion pill mifepristone. And on the public health front, we examined the serious antivirus outbreak linked to the Antarctic cruise ship, that international response to this rare and deadly cluster. We covered the sweeping 2026 changes coming to SNAP benefits, the heated battle over Alabama's congressional district maps ahead of the midterms, and the tragic Frontier Airlines incident at Denver Airport, where a runway trespasser was struck and killed. And we wrap things up with our honest review of WWE Backlash 2026, the standout matches, the major disappointments, and what we have been, and what have been Asuka's emotional final match. From global conflict and economic pressures to court rulings, welfare reform, redistricting flights, aviation safety, and sports entertainment, this week reminded us how quickly things can shift on multiple fronts at the same time. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, I want to take a moment to highlight two important issues: mental health and domestic violence. These affects millions every day, but help is available. If you or someone you know is struggling with stress, anxiety, or feeling overwhelmed, support is always available. In the United States, you can call or text the 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Trained counselors are available 24/7. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or need help, you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for confidential support and resources. You are not alone, ladies and gentlemen, and reaching out is always a sign of strength, not weakness. I would like to say thank you for tuning in to Unbound, and we'll be back Friday with more stories that matter. Until then, stay informed, stay aware, but most of all, ladies and gentlemen, stay unbound. Revelation, say your goodbyes, my good friend.
We would, like to thank you for tuning in. For those of you who are, just going to listen to it on the new, spicy audio format.
Oh, I forgot about that. I gotta show that real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, we thank you for listening in with the tingly little joyous ear waves that you have decided to enjoy us on. And all the we hope you're safe if you're going to work or whatever, or going out to eat at this odd hour of the night. We know what type of people you are. And if you're going to bed, hope you have some sweet dreams, because everyone deserves to have those. But are you gonna show them after this, or am I good to
give me a minute. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, sorry, I need to take this moment because it's a very exciting moment for Rev and I. We got a lot of work to do, right, Rev? We're going to be creating this different intro, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to hear the intro that you hear here on this video form. You'll be hearing a very different intro very soon, because we really are putting in the work, right, Rev?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, again, real quick before we head out, you can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, RSS.com community, iHeartRadio, Pandora, TuneIn, Castamatic, Castbox, Castro, CurioCaster, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Podcast Addict, Podcast Guru, Pod LP, and Podverse. And you know what? And wherever else you get your podcast, you make sure you tune in there as well. Hell yeah. All right, Rev, you can send us on our way. What's the word of the day before you send us out?
Okay. Now, the word of the day today, everyone, is El Podcasto, or, as people in Spanish would like to say, podcast. Now, We thank you for tuning in to 67.6 FM Unbound. I'm gonna play
Unbound!
you out. Play them out.
One voice rises. From couch to cosmos. Ride. We hit the mic when the daylight dies. Let the whole world speak on blood red skies. Questions like thunder, cutting through the lies. Deep talks and revelations under stormy nights. From twisted thoughts and secrets never told, to the stars we chase into work gone cold. One by one we take them, roaring unrehearsed, turning chaos into wisdom, truth into us. We talked it out, we broke it down, from the heaviest doubts to the wildest sin. If you rode with us through the smoke and flame, you fought the fire, you know the name. Jey Morales, Unbound, shaking minds across the battleground. Jey Morales, Unbound, from the couch to the stars. Hear the mighty sound. Late night warriors gathered round the flame, lifting spirits through the brain. Jey Morales, Unbound, when the truth comes down, you can't hold it back. Oh, we chased the rumors, checked the claims, laughed in the madness, fanned the flames. From internet fires to the cosmic unknown, we walk the air where few have gone. No scripts, no limits, just the war to read. Every question sharp and like to Leo Steel. Revelation rising, Jey set the tone, turning quiet nights into epic thrones. We slowed it down when the world got loud, gave the silence power, let the truth come and break. We turned it out, tore the veil away, found the light where the shadows play. If you stayed until the final round, you were the crown of behind. Jey Morales, Unbound, shaking lines across the battleground. Jey Morales, Unbound, from the deepest dark to the highest ground. No fear, no chase, no looking back. The voice of the night is on the attack. From the couch to the stars, through the smoke and the scars, we become who we are. In the silence between the questions lies the truth that sets us free. No fear, no takes, no looking back. The voice of the light is on the attack. Oh yeah!
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah.